needs to take a seat, please feel free to do so. The Holy Gospel according to John, the 4th chapter.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus came to a Samaritan city called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired out by his journey, was sitting by the well. It was about noon. A Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." You see, Jesus' disciples had gone to the city to buy food, and the Samaritan woman said to him, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask a drink of me, a woman of Samaria?" Jews do not share things in common with Samaritans. And Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is that is saying to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have no bucket, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us the well, and with his sons and his flocks drank from it?" Jesus said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But those who drink the water that I will give them will never be thirsty. The water that I will give will become in them a spring of water, gushing up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water, so that I may never be thirsty, or have to keep coming here to draw water." Jesus said to her, "Go, call your husband and come back." The woman answered him, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying, 'I have no husband,' for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you say that the place where people must worship is in Jerusalem." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming and is now here, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father seeks such as these to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know that the Messiah is coming, the one who is called Christ. When he comes, he will proclaim all things to us." Jesus said to her, "I am he, the one who is speaking to you." Just then his disciples came, and they were astonished that he was speaking with a woman. But no one said, "What do you want?" or "Why are you speaking with her?" Then the woman left her water jar and went back to the city. And she said to all the people, "Come and see a man who told me everything I have ever done. He cannot be the Messiah, can he?" They left the city and were on their way to him. Meanwhile, the disciples were urging him, "Rabbi, eat something." But he said to them, "I have food to eat that you do not know about." So the disciples said to one another, "Surely no one has brought him something to eat." Jesus said to them, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to complete his work. Do you not say, 4 months more, then comes the harvest? But I tell you, look around you and see how the fields are ripe for harvesting. The reaper is already receiving wages and is gathering fruit for eternal life, so that the sower and the reaper may rejoice together. For here the saying holds true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap that for which you did not labor. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labor." Now many Samaritans from the city believed in him because of this woman's testimony. "He told me everything I have ever done." So when the Samaritans came to him, they asked him to stay with them, and Jesus stayed there 2 more days. And many more believed because of his word. And they said to the woman, "It is no longer because of what you said that we believe, for we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this is truly the Savior of the world." This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Please be seated. And the gospel for today, this is where really the rubber hits the road, if you will. Because in last chapter, the third chapter of John, we heard Jesus telling all who were around not only who he was, but what God's plan was for everyone. That God so loved the world. And he said that his Son was being sent into the world not to condemn it, but to save it. And so now he, by his actions, back up the very words he has just said. He does this in a very unique way. Now, as we've talked before about Samaritans and Jews did not get along. In fact, it was a real hatred of one another. That in the previous centuries, when the Jews had been conquered, and most of the ruling class had either been put to death or sent back to Babylon or some other place, along with a lot of these scholars and the priests. And the people that were left there were Jews, but there were not many of them. And of course, when there's open territory, others move in. And so these foreigners came and lived in this area. And after a few generations, the Jews that were left, even though they held their faith, they held true to the first 5 books, just as the Jews do, and just as we know the first 5 books of the Bible. They began to intermarry with these foreigners. And so when the Jews came back, when they were able to come home again, they looked at the Samaritans as being impure, those whom we would not deal with. They called them many other things, and one of the things they called them, one of the more gentler terms, was basically half-breed, which is a very derogatory term. But that is a term that they would consider the Samaritans. So to say they didn't get along is an understatement. And Samaria borders along Galilee. And of course, that's where Jesus primarily did a lot of his teaching. But most people, if they were Jewish and they were coming and had to go further past Samaria, they would actually travel around that area. They would spend the extra time to go the extra 5 or so miles instead of cutting straight through. That's how much they despised one another. And if we also remember from past times, women held the lowest place in society. Now this particular woman, she came to draw water from the well, and we are told that it is about noon. Anybody know the hottest time of the day? When the sun's right overhead. Say about noon. Nobody else draws water at noon because it's so stinking hot. And especially in the Middle East, it's very hot. But this woman chooses to come to the well because she is an outcast among her people. She doesn't go in the morning when all the other women go, or at nighttime when they all go, because she is just plain tired of hearing all the gossip. She is tired of coming up upon a group of women who are talking, and then when she shows up, they begin to laugh or they go silent. The ones who basically kick sand in her face, push her out of the way, basically denying her own existence. If the women in society are the lowest of the low, this woman ranks below them all. And the reason is because the gossip in that town knows that she has had 5 husbands. Now, a lot of us might get our wheels turning and saying, well, we're on 5 husbands. But let me read you something. Let me read you from Deuteronomy how it is that men were allowed to dismiss their wives. This is cause for divorce here. When a man takes a wife and marries her, If then she finds no favor in his eyes because he has found some indecency in her, he can write her a bill of divorce and put it in her hand and send her out of the house. So, first time my wife burns my breakfast, I get to write a letter of divorce. First time she looks at me with that look, I can write her a letter of divorce. The first time she talks back to me, I could write a letter of divorce. I could have been divorced 100 times over by now. That is how simple it was to get a divorce. And that's why Jesus even spoke about divorce when he taught, because it was being abused so much. Now, this woman may have been married, and it could have been something as simple as burning the toast. And she could have been dismissed and divorced. Now, after 5 times of going through this, it is no wonder that she wants nothing to do with marriage. And it's probably no wonder that she is just living with someone because, again, having no status in society, she would have not had the means to even live. So Jesus comes to her. And that's what God does. He comes to us always. And he comes to us on our worst days just as often as he comes on our best days. And he comes to us even after we've made the most horrendous choice in our life, just as well as when we make the right choices. And so God in Jesus comes to this woman, and he sits there, and he asks her for a drink. And of course, as you've heard, they go through this little bit of banter back and forth. And Jesus can see her faith. He knows that this is a woman who understands. That yes, they live by the law, but they also know that there's a Messiah coming, and in this Messiah, she will find salvation, that all people will find salvation. And then they talk about the living water, and Jesus reveals who he is. I want you to think about this for just a moment. Jesus came to her, the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. He revealed to her his good news. And what did she do? She went and told others. Can anybody tell us the definition of an apostle? I think we have the definition right there. One who is sent out to share the good news of Jesus Christ. I would submit she is one of the first apostles that we have. That she, this Samaritan, this person who was dirt underneath the sandals of everyone else, is called a beloved child of God and is given new meaning and a new identity in life. And she goes out and she tells everybody, can this be the Messiah? This man who knew everything that I had done. It must be him. And through her testimony, these people start coming out to see Jesus. And because of her going out and telling them all about Jesus, they come to see Jesus and they hear his words and they believe. You see, that's Jesus backing up his gospel proclamation. That God so loved the world. Because Jesus did not go back into Jewish territory. He did not go back to the righteous Pharisees or those people who lived according to the law. Rather, he went to one who was considered contemptuous, one who had no business to talk to a Jew, let alone a male. No one who had any place in society, and that's where Jesus went. He went there because God loves each and every one of us, no matter our position in this world. No matter if we were born on one side of the tracks or the other, no matter the color of our skin, the political parties that we are part of. It doesn't matter if we're young or old. It does not matter if we're male or female. It does not matter any of our identity here on earth. Rather, the only thing that we need concern ourselves is that we are beloved children of God. And in that we find salvation. In that we find this living water. It is a message that our world needs. It is a message that a lot of our younger people need. It seems that a lot of people have no hope. And if we looked at the headlines and if we look at what is going on in the world, I could see why. But I am thankful that I have something to hold on to. It is a hope and it is a peace not of this world. You see, we have received that living water from God. And because of that, we know that this is not all there is. That no matter what is going on in the world, God is with us. And no, He's not going to make our lives all rainbows and unicorns, but God is with us and He will see us through whatever it is. And that God's love never leaves us. Because I don't know about you, but I've screwed up heavily in my life. And I still continue to make choices that probably go against what God has in mind for me. And God never once says, I no longer love you. Rather, God says, I love you so much that I was willing to die for you, and I did. What we need to do is let the world know this message. We need to let our neighbors and our friends, our children and their children, and those people that they hang out with, and those people who think that they are beyond love, those people who have no hope, those people who try and find things in this world to ease their pain. That if we do as this woman had done, maybe we could give people hope enough to hang in there. To give them hope enough to overcome some of the demons that they face, and they are very real. The time that we give them, the love that we share with them, the time that we spend sitting and listening, the time that we let them know that even though they've gone a little too far, they are still loved. That is how we share this gospel. And when we do, just like this woman experienced, her life was changed. Her surroundings were not, but her life was forever different. And that is what Christ calls us to do, to be His apostles. He asks us to go out and to teach and baptize in His name. He says that if we hear this good news, we would be like this woman, and we would run and tell everyone. This is the Messiah. This is the one who came to save the world. That in Him and through Him, our true happiness, our wholeness, our salvation, our peace, and our joy has become real.